If you dislike Cardano, the big question I want to ask you in this video is why? Why do you dislike Cardano, and what do you think is a better alternative to it? Now, Cardano versus the crypto industry, there's a lot of different things between a lot of different chains. But what Cardano does is probably vastly different than what a lot of other chains do with regards to staking, regards to tokenomics, regards to nodes, regards to stake pools, regards to a lot of things. Cardano, for example, you do not lock your stake in a smart contract in order to stake to help the network. Other chains, you need to lock your tokens in a smart contract, and it takes a couple days to get them unlocked in order to support the network and validate nodes. So if you don't like Cardano, do you not like no lock staking, and do you like preferred locking your stake, right? The whole essence of crypto is that we have free money and being our own bank and kind of going against the fiat system. But a lot of the things that I see crypto doing today is more in line with the fiat system than what Bitcoin originally intended. Now, Cardano is coming from the origins of Bitcoin. If you dislike Cardano, do you dislike Bitcoin? Because Cardano was directly derived from Satoshi's vision of Bitcoin by simply taking Bitcoin and just adding smart contracts to it. The proof of stake model that Cardano runs on is directly built from the proof of work model that Bitcoin runs on. Furthermore, Bitcoin has a UTXO ledger-based model, and Cardano has an eUTXO ledger-based model. It's vastly different from accounts-based models or other EVM style models or any other like stateful UTXO model or other models that are out there. But if you're saying that you dislike Cardano, do you dislike Bitcoin because Cardano is derived from Bitcoin? Now, Bitcoin does a lot of great things for the crypto industry, and the industry would not be here without Bitcoin, but I could see where you would say that Bitcoin's might be a little slow for DeFi or doesn't do DeFi, right? So then Cardano is iterating on that. Furthermore, if you say that you don't like Cardano, Cardano has an open node infrastructure. Anyone in the world can run a node on Cardano. Anyone in the world can run a stake pool, and that's part of the decentralization aspect of it, part of the democratic action of it. So if you're not supporting Cardano and kind of this idea that it stands for anyone to be able to run a node at any time, for anyone to run a stake pool, even if it's not creating blocks, it's still there and you're still able to run one and try, right? If you don't support Cardano's ideas of having open nodes and open stake pools, do you support closed node loops and closed stake pools and other staking models where the node providers vote in new nodes? Do you think that's a better model? If you don't support Cardano and you don't like its tokenomics, which are very, very retail friendly, about 70 to 80% given out to the retail investor, if you don't like Cardano, then do you not like its tokenomics? Do you not like the fact that the majority of the tokens were given out to the public and that, it was all through pre-sale or public sale with very little venture capital backing or zero venture capital backing or zero large corporation backing? And I know we have the Cardano treasury, but that is directly used to help build more Cardano infrastructure. So if you don't support Cardano's retail-friendly tokenomics, do you support tokenomics that are more venture capitalist-backed, that are more company-backed, that give more power to larger, richer players? Is that what you support instead of Cardano? If you dislike Cardano, do you also dislike decentralization, security, and then scalability in that order? Cardano is arguably one of the most decentralized blockchains that have ever been created and is very, very secure being written in the Haskell language. Now, these things take longer, I know, but the long term can be better than the short term if we're building a global financial structure. So if you don't like Cardano, if you dislike Cardano, do you like having more centralized infrastructures in order to have faster nodes, faster transactions, and faster blockchain scalability and blockchain buildability, right? Would you rather be built on Python or Java instead of being built on Haskell at the base layer and building on top of that in Python, right? So the big question here is if you don't like Cardano and its Haskell programming language, which really isn't that much of a constraint anymore because we have Plutus v2 and Plutus v3, which are iterations of Haskell that make it easier to build on, but also Cardano has Icon and Lucid, which are like Python-based or Java-based or other coding language-based areas in order to build on top of Cardano. So just like you can build on EVM or Solana or other types of chains in Rust or Python or Java, you can do the same thing on Cardano now. It's just people have this old narrative. So if you don't like Cardano because it's decentralized and it's scalable and it's very, very, very secure due to the predetermined way it was built, do you prefer blockchains that are built in Python or are built in Rust or are built a little bit faster but could have a few flaws, or that sacrifice decentralization for speed? Is that something that you prefer? The last thing I want to mention is, what are the things that you look for when investing in a layer 1 blockchain or projects on top of a layer 1 blockchain? One of my friends said to me this on Twitter, and he was like, a lot of layer 1s are winning in things that they should not be winning in. And in my mind, this is kind of seen as long-term versus short-term benefit. Bitcoin took really 10 plus years to get mainstream attraction. It was built in '08, maybe like '09, right? And it really started getting that kind of attraction that we know it for in 2017, 2018. I know it did really well in 2013, it did really well in 2016, but a lot of the world didn't hear about Bitcoin until 2018, right? So that's about a decade that it was out there, grinding and growing and building. And then now we have all these chains that are popping up in a year, and they are the next big thing. But there's merit in how big the Bitcoin community is. And that's something that comes only from a long-term game plan. Now, when we talk about all the things we talked about in the way that blockchains are built and what kind of features they have, or how they IPO with tokenomics, or what kind of benefits the retail investor gets, or how the staking model is built, or what kind of governance model they have, or do they have governance, or what's the decentralization like, or who's allowed to run a stake pool and a node, all of these questions are really kind of an idea of short-term versus long-term success. A lot of the things that are easier in the short term can actually become harder in the long term. And I think Cardano's done a really great job to kind of go slow in the short term in order to do really well in the long term, provided that the crypto industry, the crypto economy, still respects and still wants and still has a need for democracy or governance or decentralization or security or having control of your money, all these things that we're trying to run from in the fiat system. So I think if you're in crypto, kind of getting away from the fiat system, or you're getting in crypto with the intention of understanding that, hey, like the governments around the world, like the fiat systems around the world are kind of failing long term. They're failing, and then long term they will be on a trajectory to hyperinflate. It's kind of like out of the question. Like, it's going to happen unless we peg to something else. But if you think that's true, then the only kind of alternative outcome is a hard cap supply asset that covers a lot of these basics. It's got a governance model, it's got a democracy, it's got a decentralization nature where it's not controlled by one party. It's highly secure, it's scalable enough, or is becoming more scalable, and then it's also got a lot of features of store of value with its cap supply and doesn't have inflation, because inflation is a giant thing we're dealing with today in America and Europe and Japan and all these places, right? And so it just really, the big question I want to ask in this video is, if you dislike Cardano for whatever reason, right? What other cryptos are you invested in, and why are you investing in them? Specifically, if you are investing in cryptos that highly mirror or highly parallel the fiat world, why is that an investment that you're making? If you're invested in a centralized crypto, or a crypto that inflates at 10% a year, 5% a year even, why is that your first choice of crypto over something like Cardano, which is like Bitcoin, which has a cap supply, has highly decentralized secure network, and is kind of putting you back in control? I do understand the reason of wanting to make money and investing in narratives and, playing kind of this short-term cycle by cycle game. I do understand that opinion, and I do think that all of us should be able to make money, right? I think everyone in Cardano should make money. I think everyone in Solana or ICP or TON or Tron or all the Sway, I think everyone should be able to make money just as a fundamental aspect of life, to be more comfortable or have the things that they dream about or take care of their family. So for me, I do understand, as a swing trader myself, investing in things, but at the base level of that, I still also kind of understand that cryptos that are mirroring the fiat system that is ultimately failing long term, and has failed in all societies before this current society we're in, they're just not a good decision in the governmental aspect or the economic aspect that we are kind of taking them into today. So that's the big question I want to focus on in this video, is if you dislike Cardano, why do you dislike it? And why do you think alternative solutions are better? Why do you think, speed or venture capital backed or putting other people in charge of the money system is a good alternative idea when we've seen it's not kind of the best? So that's a big question I want to focus on in this video. I'd be, curious to hear what you have to say down in the comments. If you want to learn how to swing trade crypto, kind of the way that I swing trade them, Takes about 1 hour a week and is really highly efficient. Down in the description of this video, we have my 1 hour swing trader course. You're going to get a lot of bonuses. Right now it's on sale, simply because I need to add some more videos to it, which I've been, I've been having a couple busy weeks, so I haven't gotten fully there yet. But down in the description, you'll get a discount if you buy today. And once I put those videos in there, the price is going to immediately go up. So that's my Cardano video for today. If you dislike Cardano, I'd love to talk to you down in the comments. It's okay if you dislike it. You don't have to like everything. I don't like every crypto, but it's not just about disliking Cardano. It's kind of about the principles. If you dislike Cardano, do you also dislike Bitcoin, or do you dislike these types of ideas? That's a big question we want to ask in this video, all right? Other than that, hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next one.